War is no longer fought only with tanks, aircraft, and soldiers. In the modern world, information is power. The servers that store data, run cloud services, and control digital infrastructure have become just as important as military bases. And in the Middle East, this new reality may already be unfolding. Recent reports suggest that Iranian strikes and drone attacks in the region may have damaged or threatened major data centers in Gulf countries. These facilities are not ordinary buildings. They store massive amounts of digital information and support global internet services, financial systems, government networks, and artificial intelligence operations. Some of these data centers are connected to global technology companies such as Amazon Web Services, one of the largest cloud computing platforms in the world. Their infrastructure powers thousands of businesses, websites, and digital systems across the Middle East. The attacks reportedly targeted facilities located in countries like United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, two nations that host critical cloud infrastructure serving the entire region. Why would data centers become targets in a conflict? The answer lies in how modern warfare works. Military communication, surveillance systems, satellite data processing, financial networks, and even some defense technologies depend on large digital infrastructure. By damaging a data center, an attacker could potentially disrupt communications, slow down intelligence systems, and create chaos in digital services. Experts now say that in future conflicts, data centers may become strategic targets in the same way that power plants, airports, and oil facilities were targeted in previous wars. This shift reflects a larger transformation in warfare. Modern militaries rely heavily on digital networks to coordinate operations. Intelligence agencies collect enormous amounts of information from satellites, drones, sensors, and cyber surveillance systems. All of this data must be stored, processed, and analyzed somewhere, and often that somewhere is a highly secure data center. For example, advanced surveillance satellites constantly capture images of the Earth. These images are sent to ground stations and then processed in powerful computing facilities. Artificial intelligence systems can analyze these images to detect unusual activity, track military equipment, or identify strategic targets. Without powerful servers and data centers, this process would be slow and inefficient. In recent years, both the United States and Israel have increasingly used artificial intelligence to assist military planning. AI systems can analyze massive data sets, recognize patterns, and help intelligence analysts identify potential threats. These technologies can process satellite imagery, communication signals, and other data sources to generate targeting recommendations or battlefield insights. Because of this growing reliance on digital systems, some analysts believe that countries like Iran view large data centers and cloud infrastructure as part of the broader technological ecosystem that supports modern military power. Even if these facilities primarily serve commercial customers, their computing capacity and network connections can indirectly support intelligence analysis, logistics planning, and digital communications used by governments and allies. Data centers themselves are extremely complex and expensive facilities. A single hyperscale data center can contain tens of thousands of servers, miles of fiber optic cables, advanced cooling systems, backup generators, and sophisticated cybersecurity protections. These facilities operate around the clock and consume enormous amounts of electricity. In some cases, a large data center can use as much power as a small city. Because of their importance, companies often place these facilities in politically stable regions with strong infrastructure. However, the Middle East has become an attractive location for cloud providers due to its growing digital economy, expanding internet usage, and strategic geographic position connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa. The region's rapid digital growth has encouraged companies such as Amazon, Microsoft, and Google to invest billions of dollars into cloud infrastructure across Gulf countries. Governments in the region have also launched major initiatives to build technology hubs, artificial intelligence research centers, and smart city projects. All of these projects rely heavily on reliable cloud computing infrastructure. This makes data centers incredibly valuable, but also potentially vulnerable during geopolitical conflicts. Unlike underground military bunkers, many commercial data centers are large industrial buildings that can be identified through satellite imagery. Although they are protected with strong physical security and cyber defenses, they are not usually designed to withstand missile strikes or large-scale military attacks. Another reason these facilities attract attention during conflicts is their role in global connectivity. Data centers serve as hubs that connect different parts of the internet. They host applications, databases, and services that millions of people rely on every day. If a major data center suddenly goes offline, the effects can spread quickly across networks, causing outages or disruptions in multiple countries. For businesses, the consequences could be serious. Online services might stop working, financial transactions could be delayed, and communication systems could experience interruptions. Airlines, logistics companies, hospitals, and banks all depend heavily on reliable digital infrastructure. Even a short disruption can create significant economic losses. This is why experts warn that targeting data centers during military conflicts could have far-reaching consequences. Unlike traditional military targets, digital infrastructure supports both civilian life and global commerce. Damage to these facilities could affect people far beyond the immediate conflict zone. Another important aspect is cybersecurity. Modern conflicts increasingly involve both physical attacks and cyber operations. Hackers backed by governments sometimes attempt to disrupt networks, steal data, or disable critical infrastructure. If a data center is targeted physically while also facing cyber attacks, the combined impact could be much more severe. The concept of attacking digital infrastructure is not entirely new. In past conflicts, communication centers, television stations, and power grids were often targeted because they played a role in national coordination and public communication. Today, data centers perform many of these functions in digital form. They manage internet traffic, host communication platforms, and store essential data used by governments and organizations. However, targeting such infrastructure carries serious global consequences. Data centers do not serve only governments or military systems. They also support hospitals, transportation networks, banking systems, and millions of ordinary internet users. Even a temporary disruption could affect businesses, online services, and communications across multiple countries. This is why cybersecurity experts and military analysts are increasingly warning that the next battlefield may not just be on land, sea, or air, but also in the digital infrastructure that powers the modern world. Protecting data centers, network cables, satellite systems, and cloud platforms is becoming a major priority for governments and technology companies alike. Some countries are already exploring ways to protect critical digital infrastructure. This includes building more secure underground facilities, improving missile defense around strategic technology hubs, and developing backup networks that can quickly restore services if primary systems fail. Technology companies are also spreading their infrastructure across multiple regions so that if one data center is disrupted, others can continue operating. The Middle East has long been a center of geopolitical tension, but as technology becomes more deeply connected to national security, the importance of protecting digital infrastructure is growing rapidly. Governments in the region are investing heavily in cybersecurity, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence to strengthen their technological capabilities. At the same time, global powers are paying closer attention to how digital systems influence military strategy. Information dominance, the ability to collect, process, and use data faster than an opponent, is becoming a crucial advantage in modern warfare. Today, data centers are more than just warehouses of computers. They are the nervous system of the global digital economy. Inside these facilities, millions of processors continuously analyze data, run algorithms, and power the applications that modern societies depend on. If these digital nerve centers become targets in future conflicts, the effects could ripple far beyond the battlefield. Internet services could slow down, financial systems might face disruptions, and communication networks could become unstable. In a world that depends heavily on digital connectivity, the impact of such disruptions could be felt globally. And that raises a critical question for the future of global security. As technology becomes more central to economic power and military capability, will digital infrastructure become one of the primary targets in tomorrow's conflicts? If recent events are any indication, the battlefield of the future may not just be defined by armies and weapons, but by the invisible networks of data that connect the modern world.